All right, good evening. We are calling to order the Special Contact Committee meeting on 4/28/2025 at 6:30 p.m. Roll call our members Cheryl Ramos and Tom Sinlink, and alternate is Brian Sears, and everybody is here. Purpose of this ordinance is for the purpose of the meeting is Ordinance 7/2025, which is a stormwater management. And Mr. Matthias is here to explain to us what this is all about.
Good evening, everybody. So, the ordinance that you got in front of you deals with SWIP, which is Stormwater Pollution Prevention Plan. The purpose for those is to protect water quality by preventing pollutants of stormwater runoff from like construction sites. Most of the regulations are Ohio EPA guided, so we have to follow state law. That is why you're seeing this in front of you, because Ohio EPA laws have changed, and we need to update so we match those laws. And we're also kind of condensing it, taking the ordinances to a much smaller package. The plan would be to present a guidebook that we point to with this ordinance instead of putting the entire regulations in ordinance form, much like we do with the International Property Maintenance Code. Being because the EPA adopts new laws every few years, we would be in here wiping out huge sections of the ordinance and replacing them. We felt it better to go this route. It's going to more easily allow the girls at Diversified Engineering to review the SWIP plans. They do the bulk of the work on that. It'll be easier for contractors to follow their rules and submit the applications and submit the plans, because it's a monster. It's very difficult. There's a lot to it. It'll also allow the city to have easier, we'll be able to monitor and enforce the rules a lot easier as well. So basically, I don't know the details of all SWIP stuff. Like I said, we have an engineer and a environmentalist who review all the checklist stuff. But it's our duty to monitor it, and I'm all for it. The girls do a great job at Diversified, who wrote this and worked with Marvin and myself. Basically, that's what it's all about. We're just kind of making it more fluent and matching the EPA's guidelines.
So basically, all the ordinances we have pertaining to storm wastewater, we're going to repeal, and we're going to pass this one, and we won't have to amend anymore because it'll be the book that we'll be following that gets updated, not us. Is that correct?
Correct. And it also adds a fund for, which I don't know if we specifically have at this time, and we've talked with the auditor about, so that money is going towards stormwater related things from the fees that are collected from it. So, and it sets us up in the future if we take more responsibility from the Diversified girls. It's a good foundation, in my opinion. So yeah, this will clean up our ordinances, and we'll be right along with Ohio EPA guidelines.
So if we pass this ordinance, it takes care of repealing all the other ones? Just
I believe so.
okay.
According to the language,
Okay. You guys have questions? Huh?
no questions.
Cheryl, anything?
No questions.
No? Oh, there you are. You are here.
Where do you come
Josh and I have worked closely on this, and one of the things that I changed that I thought was important was the penalty section. Our old penalty section had made it a crime if you don't follow these EPAs. But the problem that we were running into was we were having people outside of the state. We've got one guy in California right now that hasn't followed it. And so what I did was also added a civil penalty in there that allows us to go after somebody civilly. We can literally put a lien on their property and get a judgment against them, similar to what we had to do with regards to the gas station down here. And it worked out great if it was somebody local, but since we've been enforcing this, there's at least twice that I know of that it was an outside entity or an outside company. And this allows us to do that. And I want to echo what Josh said, that we need to pass this tonight because this is the law now and we need to have it in place. and it's gone through a number of hands. Diversified looked at this very closely, made changes to what Josh and I had worked on, and I think it's good to go. A good analogy is our, can't think of the book. What's the book that?
International Property Management
International
Code.
Property Maintenance Code. It's very similar to what we do with the International Property Maintenance Code. And Josh came up with this idea. I thought it was fabulous, and really like to see you pass it this evening.
So, so I didn't know you were behind me there, you snuck in. So my question is, passing this takes care of everything, right? It
Yes.
repeals, and we don't have to do anything with those, we just have to pass 7/2020.
You know, and in the past, I've had to completely overhaul these
Right.
every couple of years. And it's
Right.
been a real,
Yeah, you and I talked about that.
yeah, it's
so-
been a real pain, so this is
Okay.
great that we're doing it this way.
Okay.
I had one question, sorry. Is this gonna be posted online?
The actual guidebook and the new website, we're looking to have a whole section for SWIP stuff, and it will have a link to the guide and it makes it easier for contractors that are, hey, we're from out of the area, what is your rules? So they'll be able to pull that stuff right off the website. So yes, it will be.
Okay,
And that's another thing, this new guide will actually, be more common to the rest of the areas of Ohio. So the contractor, they see ours now and it throws a big curveball at them. They've never seen things like that before, so we're kind of stepping in line. And it's gonna be a plus for every aspect, actually, so.
thank you.
No problem.
So,
I'm sure.
do we want to make a motion to get this on the agenda for this evening?
So moved.
Second,
Okay, so we make a motion to put this on the agenda tonight. We'll suspend the rules and pass on an emergency basis.
we have to vote.
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Yes, and I'm a yes, so we will do that. Anything else to come before this committee? Hearing nothing, we will adjourn. Adjourn at 6:37.
All righty, at 7 o'clock, we'll call our committee as a whole to order. And for the record, we have all 7 council members present here tonight. We have on the agenda to talk about Resolution 8, 2025, which is an amendment to Resolution 10, 2024 that was passed last year. So I know there's supposed to be some more amendments to 8.
These won't have anything to do with the actual resolution, but this is the DORA boards.
All right.
So the DORA board has the right to do a few of these things without impacting
Yes.
the resolution. So obviously, the resolution's 8/2025, that'll be held for a 4th reading tonight.
Third reading.
Third reading.
Oh, 3rd, sorry, because we didn't have quorum last night, thank you.
Yes, correct.
So
So-
that's the only discussion tonight, not the other 1024.
No.
The
We're
application.
past it.
Okay, that was
Yeah.
passed last year. Okay.
Yes.
Yep. So this is the DORA board meeting, members met on April 10th, which I know we got a lot of guests. I am the council representative on the DORA board, so that's why I'm speaking on behalf of the DORA board, but I'm also obviously on city council too. So they met on April 10th. This was in response to Empower Tusk, some of the stuff they recommended, which now has been divvied out to the proper places, because the DORA board didn't have the power to really do the majority of the things they recommended through the state, or it's through the local police department, things like that. So what they did, what the DORA board voted on, is to add an ad hoc position on the DORA board for a member of Empower Tusk. The position is a non-voting and not needed for quorum on the DORA board. So Empower Tusk would be free to send one member to any future DORA meeting whose expertise lies to whatever topic the DORA would be discussing at that meeting. They also recommended that they reduce the current DORA cups from 20 ounces to 16 ounces. And this, for the permit holders, the glasses that have been previously purchased, they will be replaced at the cost of the impact group. We'll get a donation to take care of that. So those will be reduced from 20 ounces to 16 ounces. There was a recommendation to address the wording on the cups to include drink responsibly. So we are going to do that with the new set of cups that will be ordered. We're recommending to add a complaint section /form and Hope Line information to the city's DORA website. And that website is on the New Philly website, and it's accessible by a QR code that will be I believe it'll be on any signage for it that you can like scan it, and it'll take you right to that site. Again, we had down that the glasses, but I already stated that the glasses would be replaced with smaller ones. And then obviously, last meeting, I know I was at my son's track meet, we had a few people on spring break, so we didn't end up having the 3rd reading, but their last request was to allow for a 4th reading to give them time to kind of put all this stuff into place. So that was from the DORA board meeting. I won't continue to talk too much. I know I have spoken plenty on this, and there's plenty of other council members that maybe want to talk, or we have guests at one time. But I just wanted to give that update from the DORA board, and that was sent to Empower Tusk and their members as well, from Dee Grossman, who's the president of the DORA board. Mayor, you were at that meeting. Did we cover everything?
Just one change in the board makeup. The board members
Yes.
wanted the BFW member to move to be the alternate, and the health department representative be moved into a voting member because of the relationships the health department has with the addiction and prevention agencies here in New Philadelphia and in the county.
Yeah. Thank you. I did forget that.
Yep.
Yep.
All right. Thanks for that information. Council members got questions? Yes.
Of
Mrs.
course,
Farmer.
I do. The first one, you mentioned that the Hope Line information will be on the website. but I had read on Dee Grossman's email to say that it would be on the cups.
It will not be on the cup, so you can read that two ways. So it's accessible via a QR code.
Okay.
It's not on the actual cup.
The QR code
Okay,
is
so
on
is
the
a
cup.
The
QR code
will
on
not
the
be
cup?
No. There's not room to put it on the
Right.
cup.
Okay.
But the signage,
The signage will have it.
okay.
Yeah, and that was one of the email I sent to everybody about solving the two initial problems that you mentioned about the signage up and down, up and down. Just making special event Dora, it can be a permanent sign, but I mentioned the website, like the city already has a sign with the website on it and the QR code to access that. And then the communication issue. So my other question would be, with daily or expanded DORA, who pays for liability insurance if something not criminal happens outside a bar? We want to protect the taxpayer dollars. We know when people sue, they go for the deep pockets. So I was wondering, with a special event, there can be liable insurance. So the daily DORA, who would be covering that?
That's more.
Our insurance would be covering that, because if the city sued, we wouldn't be covering if somebody else, if Joe Schmo punches.
So our
Joe-
deep
Joe-
pockets
Joe
would be
X
sued?
and-
Okay,
Well, but we'd be sued regardless. If something happens on the street, somebody trips over on a sidewalk,
Okay.
somebody gets hit by a scooter, somebody slips and falls where there's ice and sues us, we're responsible for all those things, and that's why our city liability, that's why we have city liability insurance.
okay, thank you for that answer. One of my other questions was, with Daily Dora, will organizations still be able to have events downtown if they don't support open carry alcohol drinking and they wouldn't want it as part of their event? But a Daily Dora would make that an automatic part. Could we have a reverse Dora where an organization could already, that wouldn't support that, can have an event downtown in the public square and not have open carry alcohol?
I don't know, Marvin.
I would say, yeah. I mean, you could just, if it, nothing else, post on the door signs that this is a non-door event.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's just an area,
Right.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, you should be able to do that, sure.
Do you think
Particularly if it's
also-
for, particularly if it's for.
Do you think also if
religious
the organization that was hosting the event didn't support it, and the people attending that event wouldn't,
Well, if it's a
wouldn't then go
non-door event, then they wouldn't carry around a Dora cup.
Well,
Right.
right, but I guess my point is if the organization that's hosting it doesn't support that, I would think the people coming to the event would also not support
You'd
it.
think if it was a special event, like music on the square or different things, or maybe
I don't
some of
think
the,
if the people hosting didn't support it.
yeah, you're
Likely
saying
the-
that
Likely the
likely
people
can
coming would
tell.
also not support it.
Well,
So
I
then it's their
wanted
free choice,
to.
whether or not they wanna.
Well, I want
do
to
it or not.
ensure that the door wouldn't be available, but Mr. Mayor, you answered that question.
I don't know that that is correct. I don't know how you could, how would you stop me from doing that if it's a Dora event? I'm asking you, Marvin. I don't know how you would. If it's Dora and it's between those times, there's an event, but if I still wanna, and you guys all know me, I don't even drink. But what I'm saying is, I don't know that you could.
That's why I asked a question, I couldn't.
I understand
couldn't
that's
see
why I
Yeah, I
asked
how-
mean-
it. I understand that. I
Again,
understand
it's
that.
just an area.
Yeah.
So if you're having a non-Dora event, you can still have it in the area. In order to go in and buy a Dora cup, and you're able to carry it outside in that area. So I would expect if it's not a Dora event, that people aren't gonna go into the liquor permit holders and buy
That was-
drinks
that was my point.
and carry them out into the area.
I'm skeptical, but it's okay.
But I mean, if you're having an event down there and you're
Yeah,
not.
you would think, you would
Yeah.
think. You would think
Yeah,
that'd be the case.
But to my point, I still don't think you can stop me from doing it.
no,
No.
Okay.
that's a point well taken, Ron.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I had one more. Let me write my answer down, sorry. Number 4, the DORA board, you had said was gonna meet yearly?
Or
and
as needed.
Or as needed, because, I was worried about oversight and accountability. And a new thing needs to be closely monitored. So I didn't want it be,
Yeah, we can certainly, I mean, Dee's not here, she's the president, but I mean, we can certainly, we have discussed trying to get back earlier, but we wanted to make sure we have it down that we have to meet at minimum a yearly. I would suspect, we would probably try to meet fall, just to go over how, cause I mean, your summer months are gonna be your busiest months. Dora
yeah, and I
can
would
see how
think
it
you'd
goes.
meet more
So,
then.
we do a lot of emails, so I mean, I don't know that the meeting's necessary unless there's,
Yeah.
it's hard to get people together with their schedules.
Right.
We're constantly emailing what works for you and what works for you and trying to paste it together.
Okay.
So if we set one out like 3 months from now, you can put it on your calendar. But this is something, again, if it passes tonight, you know, obviously, we've been on different sides of this one. If I'm wrong, I mean, I'll be the first person to come in here and repeal it if it would pass. You know, we can repeal this at any time, and I'll be the first person to recommend it if I'm wrong about this. But I don't believe I am. And that's where, I know we have difference in opinions, and I always will respect your opinion, Cheryl. But there's always that we can, it's important to remember that we can repeal this at any time as a city council.
I'm skeptical on that because I worked in government agencies for a very long time, and that hardly ever happens.
All right, Mayor Day.
Yes. The door board will have to meet any time, for instance, Art on the Alley wants to have an event in the area. They have to submit an application that shows, you know, the footprint, where all the trash receptacles are gonna be set up.
That won't be with the DORA board, if DORA passes tonight.
Right, but
Yeah,
they,
we will-
but
They would still have to turn in their,
they still have, but the door board can review that.
yes.
Yes, and I would say that they would have to. Plus, on the website, if you remember, Chris, we talked about putting a complaint form on the
Yep.
DORA page. So anytime a complaint is filed,
My point is,
that's a
I
reason
guess
for
when
the
I look
board
at a
to-
meeting, I think
to meet.
sitting down, but we do meetings via email.
Yeah.
More than that, Cheryl, so I guess I meant when we physically sit down together. But we
Okay.
do have
Yeah.
emails going,
That's
Mayor
right.
Day's usually on those emails.
Is that public information?
sure.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
can,
absolutely.
well, we will now have an empowered task person also on those email chain, and Cheryl,
And-
if you want me to try to, me or Mayor Day can forward you when we have emails going,
Okay.
yeah. If you'd
Yeah, and I
like to know that
appreciate that
information.
to all the councils, and we know what's going on. So my final question is, and I think you may have answered this, what is an ad hoc member?
So they're non-voting
Non-voting.
board members, so that if they don't make it, we still have quorum, and they wouldn't be a voting
Okay.
member, yeah.
But they can still
I
have
actually didn't
input.
know, I had never used that term either until that day, I had not heard it either.
I tried to find it
It's
and
common.
Google it, and
Well,
I,
she had a typo
Couldn't
on
find
it,
it.
so, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like an advisory position.
advisory position, okay.
Yeah.
So they can do input,
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
just not vote.
Yeah, and I thank Kerry for it, because he did give a lot of input and did make us go back and relook at this. You know, a lot of the stuff was out of our control through the state liquor license or stuff like that, but then Kevin looked into some stuff about it too, and we did it. It definitely made us dive into it further, and it was good recommendations to us to look at.
Okay, thank
All
you.
right, any other
all
council
my
members?
I
Yes, Tom?
we have the advantage of having had DORA in place for 9 or 10 months by now. And as a result of that, I think it's interesting to know how we're doing so far. A couple months ago, I asked, so how many DORA cups were used so far in DORA events this year? And I still don't have an answer. I said, are there any business people who have come forward to say, my business got a shot in the arm because of a DORA event? I haven't heard anything to that. I've heard of people, everybody has opinions. But is there any data? Do we have any complaints during a DORA event? I haven't heard that. Were there any arrests during a DORA event? I haven't heard anything like that. I just asked for that kind of information. I've asked it for the last couple months, and I still haven't heard anything.
So they can't get,
Kevin?
Just because I can speak specifically in my conversations with Chief Bohovy. We did review their opinions and our operations in the DORA area as it relates to compliance and underage. We spoke specifically about the events that were held. There were no arrests made or no complaints
Good.
filed during those events.
That's good. It's good to know.
as far
On
as,
the business
as
side,
far
yeah.
as the
I'm-
cups, so I talked
There's a
to,
charitable gift involved in each drink, so somebody must be tracking that.
so, yeah, so Debbie Nisley, all she can, do is the amount of sleeves given out, because they sell us sleeves, let's say, I think they're 50, so you sell a sleeve to Marvin's Bar, RS LLC for $50, and then he has those sleeves, so all they get to track is the amount of sleeves they've sold, so that each business has gotten a sleeve. So how many they sold beyond that is the information you could go and talk to individually, J&G, or
Well, I guess
Gavin's Brew House.
I guess I'm trying to get a take on, people like this, do they take advantage of it? I'm not getting any positive feedback.
But we've only had 2 events.
That's true. We've
Yeah.
had it 9
And
months.
one of them was a
only
little
2
chilly.
events,
Yeah.
and,
To me, until we open it up, if we do that, then you can track a lot easier than you can just special events.
okay.
But, like you said, they'd be giving out 50 sleeves, or 50 cups to each business. I mean, I'm not sure how many they've sold, but I think with the DORA board, now that you're in place, that you can monitor that a lot better as far as getting some accurate information as far as the number of drinks that are sold and so forth.
I think that would, I guess for our purposes tonight, it's good to know, has this been a success in its first 9 months of launch? I'm just looking for some indication of that.
I don't know,
What's considered a success?
yes.
I don't know, the bar owners come in here and say, I sold a whole bunch of them. I haven't heard anybody say they had any business boost or anything out of this.
I guess to me, a success is no issues.
Nobody got arrested.
That's a huge success.
Yeah,
Well,
I
in a
guess,
small
I mean, I
word.
feel like your point is similar to a lot of these things that we hear, and you're just not gonna know until you do it. Like, this effect, I know it was mentioned, I think, that it was gonna help provide an economic, boom, so right away, everybody wants to see data, right? That
All
it's,
I want is an indication.
I mean,
that's all.
I'm sure none of these bar owners or none of these business are like, they're not planning to retire early because of DORA. I think it's a long-term, you look at some of these cities that I've looked into, you look at Worcester, you look at Louisville, you look at Coshocton. I think DORA is like, I would describe it as like, I see it as a tool in somebody's tool belt. It's not the single-handed fix for anything, but it's along with other pieces in the downtown and the downtown business owners in the community. I think it can contribute to a good thing.
Well, I'm just hoping one of those business owners would say that. I haven't heard any of them say it.
Yeah, and again, I don't know if you can really, without doing it and just making it I don't know that you're gonna,
But I think we've gotten emails from business owners that are supporting it,
I have,
and so,
nobody said,
That was a
my
form letter.
business, we've had 2 events so far and it was good for my business. I'm looking for, I never got that email.
okay.
I got one from Great All. God knows why they're supporting it, but anyway.
Well,
So the success, what determines success? The mayor has already outlined that earlier on, was his metric of success was to increase income tax revenue to the city. Presently, and I called the tax department about that, there's no mechanism to determine that, so we don't know.
And I don't think you're going to with 3 hours
Two
for one
events.
event here and 3 hours for one event there. You're
Well,
never
we've
gonna-
had 2 events, but there's no mechanism, so the mechanism
Right,
needs
that's
to
what
be
I'm
put
saying,
in
that, like,
place.
literally.
Okay.
You can't,
That's all right, I was just looking for some indication of success, that's
you
all.
can't put a mechanism in place because that's not public record. If one of them come out and say it.
Amounts are, but not the name of a business.
I mean, the cups will be there. That'll be something that the impact group has said they will take care of,
Yeah.
should this pass. They will give us the data on how many cups
How many
go
were
through there.
drinks sold
Yes.
from each
Well, no,
individual?
all we'll know is the sleeves sold. So
Okay,
if
well,
we
that
sold
won't tell us
50
anything.
Actually, it does. If you sell a sleeve, you sold 50 and you needed 50 more.
No, that doesn't, just means you sold cups to a vendor, a liquor permitted establishment.
would come
It
back and
doesn't
buy-
say how many they've sold.
They would come back and buy more if they sold that sleeve.
Well, you can put 150 of them in your back room too, if you want to.
All right, Dan, we gotta move on
So to
here.
answer Tom's question, I think as far as like the long-term, what you see results for is go to Canton, go to First Friday, and see the crowds there and the people that are doing it.
I see, they do,
I mean,
they do
we've
well.
just started, you know, we're not gonna see results, probably 2 years, 3 years maybe.
I don't know.
As like that. I mean, the more it's established, the more people come, and, I mean, and as Chris said, that if it doesn't work out, we repeal it, you know?
Are any other council member comments? We got a few minutes for public comments, so I'm gonna open it up for public comments. Like you to have 5 minutes or less, and I hope that you're here to talk about, we've already passed DORA. We're here to discuss where we want to expand the hours. If you're gonna come up and talk about how bad alcohol and drugs are, I don't want you to kind of limit it to why, we're here tonight, and that's we're about expanding the hours. So, first up, yes.
Mr. President, I also
Yeah.
wanted to add that there will be time for public
Yes.
comments during the regular council meeting, and there will also be time for public comments when it comes up for a vote, before it is passed or defeated.
Hello, my name is Jenny Ramsey. I'm a homeowner in New Philadelphia, and my mother, Mary Jane Mathias, is a lifetime resident of New Philly. She asked me to come and speak and share tonight. I'm also here to represent many others, including veterans, some who are not able to attend, such as my uncle, Charles Robert Moss, who died in World War II under friendly fire on the Seawolf. Buddy's name is actually on the New Philadelphia VFW Memorial Wall. Thank you. Freedom, fighting for freedom. Not to be overpowered by another country, another government, freedom to protect our youth and others unable to defend themselves. Freedom for each of us here tonight, right? Freedom to have constraints to protect and to keep freedom. DORA has been passed in the fall for special events only. If the council would confirm this, it was immediately passed after the first reading. No usual second or third reading, is that correct?
No, we went through.
From my exploration, that's what I found. Okay, well, I guess we'll just leave it at that and we'll find out.
But it
We-
did pass, yes.
Yeah, it passed, but you only read it once. We as a city have minimal to no data, as both council members mentioned. As a speech pathologist, I can get data during special events, and I can get data every day. So there's no special data. There's no analysis of the data, of the cost, of the methods, of the revenue, of things that we're saying that we want to do. The initial underlying premise was given that freedom would be a try for special events only and return to the council and the people with specific data and analysis of New Philly, not all these other cities, and we would present that. We couldn't even present that tonight, I guess, is what we found out before I knew that you were going to talk about it. My family, my students, and many others have negative consequences and repercussions with what alcohol can do. As you know, it does not only affect the individual, we already know all this, but it affects friends, family, it affects people in the community. It has the potential to affect lives, cause death, etc. Normalizing drinking downtown New Philly, is that the message that we want to send to our youth? Some on council and committee state that people are adults and they will drink responsibly. Really? Let me share some data with you. Would you be able to give that? If I look at the content of alcohol and my body weight, the first drink, I have impaired cognitive function. The second drink, I'm actually impaired to drive. Is that really responsible drinking? Can someone who has one drink make a responsible decision? I guess you as council tonight will figure that out, and I think that's why we do it in the bar, because the servers are responsible to make sure they don't give any more drinks the next third, fourth, fifth, sixth time. I understand that when Dora, that 7 to 8 of the downtown establishments that serve alcohol were open before Dora. Dora did not even exist. These businesses were well aware of the regulations that we have in our community. No container, no outside of the establishment, like not in cars, not on sidewalks, etc. Back to freedom. Thank you for using the special Dora monies for charitable needs with the New Philly VFW. Appreciate that a lot. Many have fought for freedom and for constraints to maintain freedom. We know that we're all here because we make laws, right? And we do those laws to constrain. So we have freedom to protect and to continue this United States of America. I'm asking you as a council members, I'm asking Dee Grossman, I'm asking the Impact Committee, the mayor, the Empower Task, all of those consider to vote no for now on the expansion of Dora, to collect specific data, come back with it that has to do with our city, because New Philly is our city. Massillon's not our city. Worcester's not our city. Canton has Dora for special events only on Friday. I think we're manipulating things. And also, well, I won't go there. But anyway, so respectfully, Mary Jane Mathias, my mother, and myself, Jenny Ramsey, please, at this time, put it on the table. Vote no. It appears that when you said when it passes tonight, it sounds like you've already made the decision. I'd like you to reconsider and to vote no on the expansion of Dora for now. Go and review. Be respected by the residents that are here. And thank you.
Thank you. But just as a clarification, we had several meetings last year.
Yes.
It did not pass. It went 3 readings before it was passed.
No. When I read and I look in the.
Well, ma'am, I was here every meeting, so.
I think it was first meeting.
I mean, it wasn't passed on the first reading. Yes,
I asked after the meeting that, when the Empower lady was here, with her map and telling us about Dora, I went up and asked, are you voting at the next meeting? They said, no, we have 2 more to go before we vote on this. And the next meeting, I was not here, they released the legal stuff and voted.
all right, sir. You're gonna state your name and address, please?
Yes, sir. Good evening, council members. Eric Fredrickson, 533 Ray Avenue Northwest. My name is Eric Fredrickson. I'm a business owner, a husband, and a father of 3 young boys under the age of 10 right here in our city. I've watched too many friends die from alcohol, drug addiction. I know it has nothing to do with drugs, but the two go hand in hand. Dozens and dozens. I stopped counting over 50. I'm proud to say I'm on a long-term recovery journey. Professionally, I work one-on-one with people around the world to help them break free from addiction. My wife and I are both ordained ministers, and we work closely with churches, nonprofits, organizations across the city and state. Also a coach, and recently ranked one of the top coaches in the country. I've worked with everyone from college students and housewives to professional athletes and CEOs. I even wrote a #1 best-selling book on addiction. I've spoke multiple times right outside this building at recovery events. And I've worked with pastors, city leaders, politicians, law enforcement, and many others here in New Philly and across the state of Ohio and country. I don't share any of this to boast, but so you understand, I'm speaking tonight from experience and from a deep care for this city and its future. Let me be clear, I'm not against responsible drinking. I'm not against people coming downtown, enjoying themselves while drinking and getting home safely. I'm not against events like Art on the Alley, concerts, street fairs where people can responsibly drink. What I am against is opening our downtown streets for open container in the Dora Cup, I understand that, 7 days a week without truly counting the cost. Let me ask you a rhetorical question. Would you open up the designated drinking area downtown for people to freely use cocaine or opioids during the designated hours you're petitioning for? I think I can confidently answer for you that that answer would be no. Yet alcohol, which by definition is a drug, a mind or mood altering substance, killed more people last year than opioids and cocaine combined. I'm well aware that there are many people that drink responsibly, and not everyone drinks excessively and causes problems. The facts still remain, though. In 2021, 178,000 deaths in America were caused by excessive alcohol use. That's 23. In 2023, 107,500 Americans died from opioid drug overdoses. 29,918 deaths were caused by cocaine alone. Combined deaths from opioids and cocaine totaled 137,418. Still fewer deaths than were caused by alcohol. 40% of violent crimes in America involve alcohol. 37% of rapes and sexual assaults. 40% of aggravated assaults. 27% of robberies. 25% of simple assaults. If this is the business plan to boost downtown's economy, then I have to ask, are we overlooking the serious problems it could create? Here in New Philadelphia, 62.4% of households are family households. So I ask, is encouraging open drinking every day downtown going to attract families or push them away? It's been said that this initiative won't cost the city anything. I respectfully disagree. If an officer responds to a fight or an alcohol-related incident, it costs taxpayers. If an ambulance is called for an alcohol-related injury, it costs taxpayers. If there are DUI arrests, it costs, taxpayers. If I understand, and I could be wrong on this, but if I understand the DORA guidelines correctly, someone can even sit in their car and drink with a designated cup? What's the likelihood of DUIs happening downtown because of that? Right now, New Philadelphia is ranked the 7th safest city in the state of Ohio amongst cities that are 10,000 people and more. Ask yourself, will this decision help us stay there or start a slow slide downward? We are known as a safe, family-friendly city. Let's not jeopardize that reputation for short-term economic guesses. Ask yourself honestly, does this make our city safer, and will it truly boost the economy if fewer families feel safe bringing their children downtown? Thank you for your time and your consideration.
All right, thank you. All right, whoever gets it, ma'am, you can't, we're gonna start a council meeting. We'll have the public participation here, that we can have some further discussion. So we'll go ahead and get our council meeting started. All right, this meeting, New Philadelphia City Council will now come to order. Would they please rise and remain standing for the invocation and pledge of allegiance? Mr. Rippeth.
Thank you, Mr. President. Would you join me in prayer? Heavenly Father, we come to you today and we just thank you for the opportunity to live in a land where we can express our differences, we can express our opinions and still love one another, still respect one another. And I pray that you'll bring that into this building here tonight. Lord, you tell us in your book, in the book of Matthew, to ask and it'll be given unto us, to seek, you will find, and knock and the door will be open. Tonight I ask you to be a part of this body, be a part of what we're about. Lord, give us wisdom, give us your discernment, and give us civility, Lord. I seek your protection upon all of the people of New Philadelphia, our residents, our safety services, our service workers, our administrators and leaders, and most importantly, our residents, Lord. And Father, I knock at the door right now, and I just ask you to bring your spirit into this room, and may we all have our opinions, share our thoughts, and when push comes to shove, remember that we are all on the same team, making New Philadelphia great and caring for one another, and sharing your love. I ask this in the name of your Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you. I'd like to welcome everybody to our city council meeting here tonight. We'll start by roll call.
Mr. Kreinbell.
Here.
Mr. Lanzer.
Here.
Mrs. Ramos.
Here.
Mr. Rippett.
Present.
Mr. Sears.
Here.
Mr. Simmelink.
Present.
Mr. Walker.
Here.
All right, far cry from our last meeting, so I'm glad that all 7 are back from vacation and spring break, and that we have a full boat here tonight for our city council meeting. So, we have, everybody's had a chance to review the agenda for tonight. Are there any additions?
Yeah,
Yes,
Mr.
Yes,
President.
Mr. Walker.
I need to add ordinance 7/2025 for tonight's attendance.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
All right, thank you, Mr. Rippeth. In discussion by administration, council, roll call.
Mr. Walker.
Yes.
Mr. Rippett.
Yes.
Mr. Kreinbell.
Yes.
Mr. Lanzer.
Yes.
Mrs. Ramos.
Yes.
Mr. Sears.
Yes.
Mr. Simmelink.
Where do you go? All right, all right then. Are there any other additions to the agenda? Yes,
Well,
Mr.
not in
Lanza.
addition, Mr. President, but it reads on here fourth reading for all three.
Oh, sorry. I sent you another.
You sent out a correction.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Just making sure. Thank you.
Yep, yeah, we didn't have a quorum last time, so everything's a third reading, so, yeah. All righty, any other additions to the agenda? Here now to accept a motion to accept the agenda for tonight. All right, thank you, Mr. Granville. Mr. Walker, a second. In discussion by administration, council, roll call.
Mr. Kreinbell.
Yes.
Mr. Walker.
Yes.
Mr. Lanzer.
Yes.
Mrs. Ramos.
Yes.
Mr. Rippett.
Yes.
Mr. Sears.
Yes.
Mr. Simmelink.
What are we voting on? I'm sorry.
Agenda, the agenda.
Yes.
That's with one addition, Mr. Walker's addition.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
all right. All right, everybody's had a chance to review the minutes from our last, we got 2 minutes, 2 council meetings to approve. We have the council minutes from March 24th. So has everybody had a chance to review those? I'd entertain a motion to approve.
I'll move to.
Thank you, Mr. Simmerly. Mr. Lonzo, second. In discussion by administration, council, roll call.
Mr. Simmelink.
Yes.
Mr. Lanzer.
Yes.
Mr. Kreinbell.
Yes.
Mrs. Ramos.
Yes.
Mr. Rippett.
Abstain?
Mr. Sears.
Were you here on March
The
24th?
You were,
24th.
Mark, yes.
Yes.
Mr. Walker.
Abstain.
All right, so those minutes, March 24th, have been approved. Next ones are April 14th of 2025. Entertain, Mr. Sim, need a second?
Second.
All right, thank you, Mr. Alonso. In discussion by administration, council, roll call.
Mr. Simmelink.
Yes.
Mr. Lanzer.
Yes.
Mr. Kreinbell.
Abstain.
Mrs. Ramos.
Yes.
Mr. Rippett.
Abstain?
Mr. Sears.
Abstain.
Mr. Walker.
Abstain.
So how does that work? Because,
But even though you
It's
weren't
all
here,
in
you had a
favor.
chance to review the
We did,
minutes.
yeah.
well, yeah, we're watching meetings
Abstain's always in favor.
Yeah.
Yeah, abstain acts as a yes.
in favor with the majority.
Yes.
So we
Choose
don't,
the majority.
three's a majority? Okay.
3-3.
All right, so the April 14th minutes have been approved. All right, correspondence, Ms. Courtwright.
To City Council from Ted Knapp dated April 12th, 2025. This is an email in opposition to the expanded DORA hours with information from Canton Police Chief Gobbard. To Councilwoman Ramos from David Baker dated April 24th, 2025. This is an email in opposition to the expanded DORA hours. To Councilwoman Ramos from Rhonda and Greg Stover dated April 9th, 2025. This is an email in opposition to the expanded DORA hours. To Councilwoman Ramos from Robert Cleary dated March 13th, 2025. This is an email in opposition to the expanded DORA hours. To Mayor Day and City Council members from Jamie Cunningham dated April 25th, 2025. This is an email against expanding DORA hours. To Law Director Fate from Cheryl Ramos dated April 26, 2025. This is Mrs. Fate's legal opinion regarding DORA and a list of questions from Mrs. Ramos. To Mayor Day from Erica Metzger dated April 28, 2025. This is an email titled Support for Making the New Philadelphia DORA Available 24/7. To Council and Administration from Councilwoman Ramos dated April 27th, 2025. This is an email titled Solution to the Problem with the Permitted DORA Event Signs. To Mayor Day from Mike Popovich, President of Gradall, dated April 28th, 2025. This is an email titled DORA Support Letter. To Mayor Day from Jim Nisley with NPAC, dated April 28th, 2025. This is an email titled Proposed DORA Legislation. To Mayor Day from Andrew Marburger with the Pilot Brew House, dated April 28th, 2025. This is an email titled DORA. And to Council and Administration from Mayor Day, dated April 28th, 2025, the Mayor's Report. And that concludes correspondence for this evening, Mr.
All right,
President.
thank you, Ms. Courtwright. All right, we'll move into our administrative reports. First up is Mayor Day.
Thank you, Mr. President, council members, fellow administrators, and guests. A couple things I want to touch on from the report that I sent you earlier today. I'm urging everyone to vote yes on state issue number 2, which is on the May 6th ballot. I'm asking for city councils and citizens' support of the issue, which would renew the state capital improvement program for road and bridge repairs. By adopting Resolution 5, 2025 this evening, which is up for a third reading, council members can show the community the importance of this issue. The city depends on the grant and loan funding that comes from the program to help pay for much-needed repairs and improvements to our streets. A recent example, the city received over $516,000 in the program funding through the Ohio Public Works Commission to help complete the Phase 2 construction of Glen Drive Northwest. Statewide passage of issue 2 would allow the state of Ohio to issue up to $2.5 billion in general obligation bonds to help local governments fund infrastructure improvement projects. I'd like to inform council that I've appointed Lyle Tope II to the city's Board of Zoning Appeals. He fills the unexpired term of Harry Motter, who was retired from the board. Mr. Tope is a New Philadelphia resident who has a lot of experience dealing with zoning issues. He formerly was the city's Assistant Service Director and worked in the engineering department at the ODOT District 11 office and also at ODOT's main office in Columbus. Now I'd like to give the remainder of my time to Lisa Walker, the director of the Tough Bags program, a backpack program that's working to eradicate childhood food insecurity in New Philadelphia and throughout Tuscarawas County. Tough Bags is a charity organization that needs our support. Lisa? Yeah, turn this front, yeah, the front bank off.
It's flashing. It's coming on.
Wow.
It's flashing before green.
Are you sure it's on?
Yep, there it
There it
is.
is.
Wow.
I think it's, whoop, there it is.
Oops. Oh, that stupid wolf thing. Yeah.
Got it. Hello, I'm Lisa Walker. I am the Tough Bags Director here in Tuscarawas County. Thank you, Mayor Day, for giving me time to speak to you tonight. So, what is food insecurity? That's not a term that's always familiar to people. So this kind of gives the USDA's definition of food insecurity. What essentially it means is you don't always have consistent access to nutritious, healthy food. Childhood food insecurity exists in every county in the United States. Every single county, there are no exceptions to that. Sometimes it is not a problem for families all the time. There are certain causes for it. It could be a sudden medical need, job loss, things like that. Sometimes it's a temporary problem, sometimes it is a ongoing problem. Here in Tuscarawas County, the overall food insecurity rate is 14.8% for 13,720 people, right here in Tuscarawas County. For children specifically, it's a little bit higher, it's 18.1%, which is just over 3,800 children right here in Tuscarawas County are identified as being food insecure. So that's 1 in 6 kids right here in Tuscarawas County.
Wow.
There is not a single school district in the state of Ohio that does not have food insecure children. There are currently 4 backpack programs here in our county working to eradicate childhood food insecurity. Tough Bags is serving about 50% of those kiddos right now. So you can see in 2024, is that the right one?
Yeah.
In 2024, we distributed 29,600 pounds of food, just our program. Since 2018, when our program was started, we've distributed more than 430,000 bags of food. We are partnered with and serve 6 school districts here in the county: Claymont, Indian Valley, Dover, Newcomerstown, Tuscarawas Central Catholic, and Tusky Valley. We also serve Star Alternative School, Buckeye Career Center, Quaker Digital Academy, Stroudsburg Area Homeschool Co-op, and we serve 5 Harkidus Head Start Centers. So we're serving kiddos ages 3 and 4, preschool age, through seniors in high school. And we are currently, my number is off. It went up a bit, unfortunately. We are 1,926 children right now each week. We also serve as a place for children who come through the juvenile justice system to work community service hours. So we partner with Tuscarawas County Juvenile Court and Judge Adam Wogas and the magistrates in the juvenile court system. And we serve as a safe place for at-risk youth to serve community service hours. 3 years ago, we also launched a summer meal program because we knew that when kids are out of school, their need increases, not decreases, with kiddos being home and not having access to free breakfast and lunch at school. This year, we're very excited to be able to double our distribution points, and we will have 13 distribution points all over the county. So we're super excited about that. So I kind of broke it down for you so you can see exactly how many kiddos in our communities that we're serving. And a lot of people are often surprised by these numbers. Yeah, so Philly has another program, Blessings in a Backpack, that does New Philly kids during the school year. And then we take care of a lot of those kiddos during the summer because Blessings doesn't do a summer program. So that just kind of breaks down where the kids are that we're serving. So this is an example of what's in a bag. Each of the bags that we serve is shelf stable, meaning it doesn't require refrigeration. It's easy to prepare. We try to give the kiddos 2 breakfasts, 2 lunches, snacks, And when we can get like shelf-stable milk and things like that, we give them shelf-stable milk as well. Sometimes that's hard to come by, but we're always very mindful that the bags that we're sending home weigh less than 5 pounds, knowing that we have little kids carrying these bags, and we don't want them to be too heavy that the kids can't stick them in their backpack or carry those home. So we could not do what we do without community support. We don't receive federal dollars, we get grants and donations. But right now, it currently costs us $1.67 for one bag of food for a whole weekend. So that means for $100, you can feed one child for an entire year, including summers. Volunteering. So we typically pack, during the school year, we pack on Saturday mornings. In the summers, we pack on Tuesdays. Some of you have been to a packing, and it's a lot of fun. We get volunteers from everywhere and anywhere. We get sports clubs, we get Cub Scouts, we get corporate teams from local businesses, we get motorcycle groups.
Hey now.
Mr. McAdoo. We get volunteers from everywhere, and
They're
it's super fun. We pack 2 weeks at a time, so we're packing about 3,900 bags, and believe it or not, we can do that in about 90 minutes. So we're pretty efficient at this point, but we're very blessed with wonderful community support for volunteers. If you're interested, on our website, you can always sign up to volunteer with us. There's just a couple.
Look, there's a grill.
Yeah, how about that?
Yeah.
Couple examples. We get a lot of church teams.
Best side of Ron McAbear.
Those are some of our kiddos from one of our scout troops that came to help out. So that's what we do.
Can I speak to it for a second, since you called me out?
Absolutely.
I'll tell you what, it was a great event. There was about 20 of us that went that day. And she's right. I mean, it's no more than 90 minutes. Makes it easy to sign up. A great event. When it first starts out, I mean, you talk about some folks that have it down, and the people at the end, and it was funny because we're just going and going and going. And it reminded me of the I Love Lucy, you know what I mean? She's eating the chocolates and everything, that's how fast it was going. But we did those, and I think it was, an hour and 15 minutes, but we would go again and go again and go again. It was easy, and it was really a great event, and anybody that has time, I know everybody's time is valuable, but boy, what a great hour and a half we spent down there. So I just want to thank you, and I know we thanked you that day, but anytime you need us, you let me know.
Lisa, can you, the slide went by really fast, but
Yes.
could you tell us the sign up to volunteer? Or where we could go for that information?
Yep, there's the website. It's volunteersignup.org/YLDQP, or you can find us on Facebook, or the NPNAS website has links to that as well.
Thank you.
Of course.
Sounds like maybe we should have a city council sign
Yes.
up.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
I was just gonna
Count
say
me
that.
in,
That
too.
might be considered
Yeah.
a public meeting, so.
I'm gonna sign out to Mr. Walker. Just kidding.
I have no doubt.
But it would be great, I
Yeah.
think, if we could do that
You
as
could
city
organize
council
it.
or administration, and that we could do, and that'd be great.
Yeah.
I can recommend you.
Lisa,
Yes.
how do you determine what to put in the bags? Do you follow nutrition guidelines?
So I try really hard to include a fruit when I can. Like you can see a little can of mandarin oranges there. We do 2 breakfasts, which we often do like dry cereal with shelf-stable milk or granola bar, oatmeal. And then lunches, we often do soups, microwavable meals. It's always a caveat with shelf-stable processed foods. The nutrition value is obviously not what you want for kiddos, but the reality is any food is better than no food. And when you're talking about individual servings of things and things that are shelf-stable, it's often highly processed. So,
Right.
yeah.
Can you give us an idea of how much food you purchase or have donated each year?
in 1 year.
Yeah,
Um,
or a month.
so, yeah, so in 1 year, we distributed 129,000 pounds of
Okay,
food.
yeah, I missed that in the slide,
Yeah. So it's a lot.
yeah.
It's a lot of pallets.
Yeah,
Okay.
I get 4 to 6 semi-trucks a month
Mhm.
delivered of food. So when I order food, I order pallets. I can't go to Sam's Club or Walmart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are there local, stores and organizations that donate?
So we
Of
have
your
a lot
program?
of businesses who do food drives for us.
Okay.
We're just finishing up one right now. New Philly Lowe's all month long has been doing a Fill the Box campaign for us and doing a local food drive. We have a lot of businesses who do that as well.
We could do one here at City Hall too.
Awesome. That'd be great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
You do offer Tuesdays sometimes.
Yeah, yeah, in the summer we pack on Tuesdays, so gives everybody a break from Saturdays.
Gonna say, Mike, if you wanna pick a date, maybe we can send it around the council, see if that date suits me, to show up and
We will get a
we
date
can
figured out.
coordinate, we get that coordinated.
I know a person.
You know a
I
person?
know a person.
You have contacts?
I do.
All right.
Alrighty.
Any other questions?
Any other questions?
I had one,
Yes.
sorry.
Yes. No, you're
Do
good.
you include in the bags information about local food pantries for
Yes.
the parents? Okay.
Yes, and we have all of that information available and links on our website and our Facebook as well.
Okay, great, thank you.
Yep, of course. Thank you, guys. Yes.
I just want to thank you, because having been involved in this, in the local school systems, seeing the effect this has on families and on children's with their nutritional needs, thank you very much for what you do.
Thank you.
Yes. All right. Thank you.
Mr. President, that concludes my report.
All right. Any questions from Mayor Day and his report?
National Junior Honor Society.
If not, we'll move on to Service Director, Mr. McAbill, the motorcycle guy.
Yeah, I figured you'd let me sit down. Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Mr. President. Just a few quick updates on North Avenue. If anybody's been over there the last couple of days, it's finished. All the water line is in, all the reclamation work is done, and the curb strips, and it did get paved today. So North Avenue is complete. We'll pull the cones and barricades out of there. If you remember, we also went up towards Cedar Lane there also, so that was completed today. Also, real quick, we talked about paving, and since where they was at today, and had a couple things that they may have to do there tomorrow, we're gonna do Tuscarora tomorrow. If you remember, that was on the paving list. Then we're gonna go to First Drive, and then they'll be out till they usually come back in June. Just to let everybody know, there'll be a Tuscarora tomorrow, and then that First Drive, that little stretch we had, like from Minnick to Park, I believe.
Yeah.
Also with that list, I send that list out to Dominion, or Enbridge, I guess I should say now. And there is gonna be a gas line project on Dale Lane. So to everybody out on Dale Lane, we won't be doing that this year, but they will do the gas line project in the first quarter of '26, so we can pave it next year. No sense us being out there paving it, and have a bunch of holes and everything else in it, tearing it all up. So that was taken off the list. And what was added to the list, we added Third Drive southwest from High Street to Front Street. So that'll be getting done in replace of Dale Lane. So just want to make everybody aware of that, add that to your list, remove Dale Lane. If anybody gets a call from anybody on Dale Lane, that is why. I just want to make it public for that. Also, last week, we had our pre-construction meeting for Glen Drive. Looks like right now, tentative start date is the third week of June. Again, that's always moving because of weather. If it rains the next 40 days, that's August. But just so right now, that's tentative. And once we get closer to that time, in the next 5 weeks here, I might have a better date of, okay, they're coming in tomorrow or next Monday. I'll be able to give you a better update of that. Also, in the past couple weeks, they've been doing some reclamation work on East High Avenue. Some of the stuff been going on with the bike lane, some of the dirt work, we're still working through. Some of the stuff was for the fiber folks, some of the stuff was the ODOT folks. So Josh has been helping me out with that to try to get them all, everybody to come together and say, okay, we'll take responsibility for this. You know how that goes. It's this right now.
Yeah.
So we're working through that right now. But again, they've been down there the last couple of weeks, and we look for the fiber folks to get down here in the next couple of weeks and try to tidy some of that up. We also know that those areas that are holding some water, those will still need to be addressed, but we look for that to be done in the next couple of months. They have not given us a date of we'll be in to do that as of yet. I think at the last meeting too, it talked about they was gonna come in and stripe what they hadn't done, or they did at one time up on Franklin Square. They did come back in and do it again, so it's completed. They've got some water issues there that they gotta work through, and a dip right there. So they'll have to work on that also. And down the hill on Fourth Drive, they've got some washout there that they've got to try to maintain and hold the dirt and stuff in there. But again, they have not said when they're gonna come back just yet, but hopefully next meeting I'll have an update as far as when. But that's the end of my report. Any questions?
All right, yes, Mr. Walker.
The water issues, is that what you and I talked
Yes.
about over there on front or almost the front?
Yeah.
Any other questions?
What was the issue on Countryside? There's a little coned off area going on Countryside.
There was, you talk about one that's, that took a while to rear its ugly head, I guess. It was a fiber that went through there and snagged somebody's lateral from up on the hill. Left, or I guess if you're looking at Dawn's house, on the right of Dawn's, that one's coming down. Josh had went out and we got a picture of it. The fiber line's right underneath the lateral, sewer lateral. I believe Bridge is gonna do that, right?
That's no this week.
Yeah, so Bridge is gonna go try to replace it, but,
Okay.
the fiber folks did take, ownership of that.
Okay.
It was tough not to, because like I said, the line, we
Yeah,
have a
the
picture
line's
of it.
right there.
Yeah, I have a picture of it, and it's right there on
Yeah.
top of it, but that's what happened there.
Okay.
So that will be, addressed here this week.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? All right, thank you, Mr. McNamara. Safety Director, Mr. Milligan.
Thank you, Mr. President, council members, administrators, colleagues, and guests. I made it back to council meeting number 2.
All right.
So we're heading in the right direction, and I look forward to meeting those council members that weren't present at my last meeting. Over the last couple of weeks, I've continued to meet with executive leadership from both departments, including their union leadership, and we continue to have very productive conversations and developing our relationship, understanding what they value and what's going well, and understanding where opportunities lie for improvement as we begin to evaluate those. I just want to make a comment, and meeting specifically with the union leadership, the FOP and the IFF. It's amazing to hear their passion they have for serving this city and the pride they take in wearing the uniform for the city of New Philadelphia. And they serve without fear and favor, and they take that very seriously. And that's come out in all of my conversations and meetings with them as we talk about steps forward, moving forward. So I just want to commend them and let you know the commitment you have from the personnel of both of those safety forces, and how strongly they take and consider pride in their role of serving the citizens of New Philadelphia. It's just been a great productive meetings each time I've worked with them. I'd also like to thank Auditor Denham. I met with her today. Probably more painful for her than me. She started to educate me to our financial processes and looking at the fiscal operations of both departments. So I appreciated her time sending me today to review some reports. We'll continue to meet a few times to assess the financial operations of those departments and look for opportunities for efficiencies and improvements moving forward. A little bit about the fire department, just back in March, something I want to highlight as we move forward. They responded to 301 calls in the month of March, so averaging about 10 per day over that 31-day period. A couple things they have going on, I think, that are significant to note. During March, they implemented a fireworks software reporting system. It is updating their current fire and EMS reporting system, which is antiquated, almost end of life. So I think it's going to be a great tool, one, for stability, but two, it's going to give us a greater reporting structure to pull data from, analyze data, to make operational planning decisions, and look what opportunities lie. So I think we're getting a lot more accurate data that we can use to make decisions moving forward. So that's still in the process of being implemented. We were able to provide some trainings to 3 of our personnel that attended last week. Found that very helpful. So anytime you do technology rollouts, there's always some pain and bumps with that, but Assistant Chief Tharp and Parrish and the team's working through that. So looking to have that fully implemented and probably up and running within the next 30 days. Also of significant note, we did receive a $117,000 grant. We're partnering with FEMA with a 10% investment or a contribution from the city side, so about 11,000. But what that did for us, it replaced the entire, all of our hose and nozzles for the entire department. So a significant investment to a critical, obviously, piece of tool that they use. And that was done in partnership with some local organizations, Bolivar Fire Department, Strasburg, Brewster, Sugar Creek, and York Township. It was a joint effort that went together and did the work to do this grant, and as a result, we were able to replace all of that equipment and upgrade it. So we're thankful for that, specifically for Chief Perry, Assistant Chief Tharp, and then Bolivar Fire Chief Sean Lynch, who did a lot of legwork on that. So we started to receive that deliverment now. We've got about 40% of it, with about 60% less to receive over the next few months. So we're excited about that. ISO inspection, International Standardization Organization, happens every 5 years. If those of you are familiar with it, we are due for ours. They're coming May 1st. This is a process where they come in and basically looking against NFPA 1970 standards, looking at our anywhere from dispatching, our water supply, fire suppression, investigation equipment, staffing, and our operations. And that has a downstream impact on our insurance ratings ultimately, and also it's something, an area that businesses look at for growth and development of how the city's rated. One thing I'll comment, in 2008, the city was at a Class 5 ISO rating. Since 2008, we're now a Class 2. And I'd like to commend, the members of the fire and EMS service leadership there, city leadership that supported that. Out of the 1,180 fire departments in the state of Ohio, there's only 118 that are Class 2, and there's only 13 that are Class 1. With those class ratings, 1 being the best, 10 being not the most optimal. So being at a Class 2, and a lot of great work's been in the last few years, so we look forward to hopefully another successful survey as we will continue to strive to meet that Class 1 certification for the city and the businesses that we serve. Secondly, the police department in March responded to 1,398 calls for service. That's average about 45 contacts per day. As I move forward in my reporting, I look forward to sharing with you a little more detail on what those categories are, geographical locations of some of the service areas that we're serving, and some of the challenges we see in your ward specifically. So I think as we get more detailed reporting information, I look forward to sharing that with you. One thing I'll note, the police department did conduct a civil service exam on March 27th. We had 10 applicants take the test. 9 moved forward to the physical agility, with 3 now moving forward into the background examination for potential employment candidate for the position of a police officer for the city of New Philadelphia. So that concludes my report.
Any questions? I know the fire department, as an insurance agent, they protect Class 2 rates are much better than protection Class 10, so it's a great job they do. It is for our citizens here as far as getting good rates on their homeowners insurance. So.
Thank you. Thank you.
Just
Yeah.
curious, what is the lifespan of a fire hose? Like, what is the useful life of a fire hose?
It's a great question. I don't have the answer, but I'll get you the answer. I was committed to not knowing. I would guess they wouldn't go past any more than 10 years.
Yeah.
Just because obviously that's the lifeline, right? I mean, when
Right.
that thing's sitting inside that's their one
Yeah,
lifeline to the guys on the end. But I will follow up with that information with the Councilman Sears to know what the, average lifespan but to be able to replace it all and just have the confidence knowing that when they're in there doing what they need to do, they've got the right tools to do the job, I think is good, and it's great that FEMA is able to support us in that.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, thank you, Mr. Milligan.
Thank you.
Move on to auditor, Mrs. Denham.
Thank you, Mr. President. No report tonight.
All right. Treasurer, Mr. Gerber.
No report, sir.
All right, thank you. Law Director, Mr. Feet.
Thank you, Mr. President. I wanted to address my legal opinion that I issued to council. I had, because I heard it raised during comments on DORA. This came up, I had 2 council members and the mayor asked me about it. So I drafted a written legal opinion rather than just giving an oral one. The issue that has come up is whether or not you are permitted to have an open container in a vehicle in a DORA zone. The Ohio Revised Code does not permit that. 4301.62 permits it in only 2 exceptions. One exception is if you're in the back of a chauffeur-driven limousine, you're allowed to to have an open container and drink in the back of a chauffeur-driven limousine. That is true, not just in the door zone, but throughout the state of Ohio, not just in the door zone. The other instance is, and this is also true throughout the state of Ohio, if you purchase a bottle of wine from an establishment that it has to be resealed in order for you to transport it, and it has to be put in the back of the trunk. If you do not have a trunk, it has to be in the back in a place where the driver cannot access it. And that too is true throughout the state of Ohio, not just in the door zone. I think the confusion came up there was a document done by the Ohio Department of Commerce that was done to support DORA as a tool for communities to use economically, to advance economic initiatives. And in there, there's a footnote that seems to indicate that you can have it in, that it is permitted to have open container in a vehicle in a designated outdoor refreshment area. That's not law. The long and short of it is that courts rely on the Ohio Revised Code, not a footnote that would be in a document that purports to support the advancement of ADORA as an initiative for communities to economically develop. I was a defense attorney for 11 years before I became law director, and I have to rely both now as a prosecutor and as a defense attorney on what the Ohio Revised Code said. If I had a client that was charged with an open container in a door, and I came in and said, well, there's this footnote in this document from the Chamber, the Ohio Department of Commerce, the court wouldn't even entertain that. In fact, I'd probably be in big trouble with my client if I came in and tried to pull something like that. But the bottom line is that the Ohio Revised Code is what we call controlling law, or carries the force of law. And that is what courts look to. And based upon the Ohio Revised Code, there is nowhere in there that permits you to have an open container in a designated outdoor refreshment area, except in the two instances that I mentioned. In addition to that, I am asking that Ordinance 5/2025 be passed on first reading tonight. That is an overhaul of our stormwater initiatives that we're required to do by the Ohio EPA. This is a mandate from the Ohio Environmental Protection Agency that we are forced to follow. Josh Mathias is here if he wants to address that at this time, if he wants to address it when it comes up for an initiative.
Marvin.
It's 7.
I'm sorry, 7/2025. I did 8 pieces of legislation, so I screwed up a couple numbers. I had an enormous amount of legislation that I did this last time. So I'm asking for 7/2025. Thank you for correcting me on that. I'm asking that be passed because we are mandated by the Ohio EPA to have that in our ordinances, and that is current law, and we need to pass that so that we are in compliance with the mandate of the Ohio EPA. Beyond that, I'll be happy to take any questions that you have.
Any questions for Marvin? All right, thank you, Mr. Fate. All right, move on to our board commission reports. First up, Planning Commission, Mayor Day.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Planning Commission will meet here in council chambers on Tuesday, May 13th at 1 p.m. Among the items on our agenda will be a discussion about the new zoning code. A few tweaks have to be made to that code, so the commission will be taking care of that, and also any other items that come for the to be added to the agenda between now and the meeting date.
All right, thank you, Mayor Day. All right, Board of Zoning Appeals, Mr. McAbeer.
Thank you, Mr. President. Board of Zoning Appeals will meet here in council chambers on Tuesday, May 13th at 5 p.m.
All right, thank you, Mr. McAbeer. Airport Commission, Mr. Lonzer.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Airport Commission will be meeting May 13th at 6 p.m. at the Harry Cleaver Field Airport meeting.
All right, thank you. Park Board, Mr. Sears.
No report tonight, Mr. President. There was a meeting on the 16th, but I was out of town.
Gonna talk about the fishing derby this Saturday.
Am I going to? I wasn't going to because I wasn't
Oh.
there.
If anybody, the Park Foundation, they're having a fishing derby at the park this weekend. It starts at 8 o'clock and to 11. And so if you have kids who want to fish, and they got all kind of door prizes they're going to give out. So this is our third year for that, and they get fantastic turnout for that. So come out there, and there's food if you get hungry as well. So,
That's not the trout derby, is
or it
it?
is a trout derby.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's what
okay.
it is.
Yeah, they have a special rainbow trout this year that looks really cool, that you're gonna see that the kids are gonna love. And they also have somebody there that cleans the fish for you, so you can take them home and cook them.
So, should be a fun morning for anybody who wants to get out there with their kids. All right, move on to the Health Board, Mr. Simmelink.
The next meeting of the Health Board was scheduled for May 14th, but it's been moved to May 15th at noon in this building, or in this room. That's all, Mr. President.
All right, thank you, Mr. Simmelink. Move on to our council committee reports. Finance, Mr. Rippett.
Thank you, Mr. President. Nothing to report tonight, but it is nice to be back in my seat after a week of being sick and a week of traveling, so I'm glad to be back here.
Yeah, I bet you are. All right, Public Works and Economic Development, Mr. Lonzo.
Thank you, Mr. President. No report this evening.
All right, Safety, Health, and Service, Mr. Simmelink.
Thank you, Mr. President. No report tonight.
All right, Zoning and Annexation, Mrs. Ramos.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would like to say that,
You're welcome.
I'm sorry. Mr. President.
I'll take the promotion, whatever.
Thank you, Mr. President. Which means I can't read and talk at the same time. Okay, on May 12th, we will be having a zoning and annexation committee meeting at 7 o'clock to go over the McLean annexation, finally, and 2 other items.
All right, thank you. Salary, Mr. Granville.
Thanks, Mr. President. No report.
All right, Cemetery, Mr. Sears.
Thank you, Mr. President. There was no cemetery meeting in April.
All right. All right, Contact and Special, Mr. Walker.
Thank you, Mr. President. Special Contact Committee met this evening at 6:30 here in chamber, council chambers. All members were in attendance. Our main discussion this evening was Ordinance 7/2025, which Marvin just discussed. And we put that on the agenda tonight for first reading and passing, and we adjourned at 6:37.
All right, thank you. All right, now visitors' comments. I got a correction to make to the lady back here. She was correct. We did pass the door on the first reading. We had meetings for probably 7, 8 months. And I know the Art in the Alley was coming up, and I think most council members thought they had more than enough information to make a decision. So it was, the rules were suspended. It was passed on the first reading. And so that we could get that either up or down for the Art in the Alley, and it passed. So that's, I apologize to you, but I did.
Well, it was Marvin Bates that said, no, there was 2 more readings. I didn't attend the next one, and that's when you adjusted
Okay.
the rules and voted anyway. There might have been more people that wanted to speak then, but didn't get to.
Well, but I think, said most council members, I mean, I think they, like I said, we had meetings for probably 6, 7 months, and I think we had enough information to make a decision. At least I felt that I did, and I didn't get to vote, but as far as getting it on the agenda, so. So now we'll open up the visitors' comments. Anyone wishing to address council should rise, state their name and address, and you will have 5 minutes.
I've already spoken against Dora once the first time, the very beginning. I've been given a letter by somebody that works at Safe Harbor that she would like me to share. And so the last time I spoke, of course, you were saying it was just for special events, so don't worry. So now I guess it's becoming every day. Good evening. My name is Aaron Darty. I am a treatment specialist with Safe Harbor. residential facility for teen girls that have been rescued from sex trafficking, and a trafficking survivor myself. If DORA becomes an everyday thing, we face consequences that I believe we do not yet fully understand. To start, this beautiful square that as a city, we take much pride in. It would be crowded with drunks, partying, people peeing on the streets, and buildings, and the dark, insidious things people don't want to talk about. As I stated before, I'm a trafficking survivor. I make no secret of that. But did you know that alcohol, substance use, and substance use disorder is a leading risk factor for sex trafficking in the world? As if Ohio isn't already at the epicenter of human trafficking in the U.S., we are choosing to invite more of it into our very own city square. The U.S. government recognizes that alcohol and substance use make victims more vulnerable to being trafficked, initiated and manipulated by traffickers, and coerced and controlled by traffickers. Now let's talk about the fact that alcohol and substance use also makes prosecuting traffickers and defending survivors more complicated. Approximately half of all sexual assaults are associated with either the perpetrator's alcohol consumption, the victim's alcohol consumption, or both. According to the National Library of Medicine and National Center of Biotechnology information, 3 out of 4 attackers have been drinking alcohol, and they sexually assaulted someone, according to the U.S. Government Office of Women's Health. USA Today states that alcohol is used much more often in date rapes than any other drug. Quite honestly, alcohol is the #1 date rape drug, said Mike Little, regional supervisor for the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation's Nashville Crime Lab. Roofies are very rarely, if ever, seen in real life. When we bring the drinking outside of the bars and restaurants and into the neighborhoods, streets of our beloved city, those numbers change shape and begin to include children and teens that live and walk in those streets. There is well-known risk factor that all of us accept when we go to the bar to drink. We all know it, regardless of how terrible it is. We all know that there's a possibility when we go drinking that someone will roofie our drink, that someone, the wrong someone, will take us home, that we will lose our own inhibitions and wake up next to someone we don't even remember going home with. There's this risk factor associated with knowing that when you go out to drink, some nights you go out intending to lose control. Some nights you go out with the intention of just having one drink. And let's face it, we all accept that responsibility the moment we choose to go out and drink, especially the women. Unfortunately, we know that we have to watch our cups. Who carries them, who brings them, who holds them. We have to be careful of how many we drink, who we bring with us or meet there. We have to be careful of what we wear, what shoes we have on. These are stereotypes, yes. They are statistics that we hate to acknowledge, and yet they exist. So we stand here today and we look at those statistics and what happens when we bring this drinking outside of the walls of the bar and into our streets and our neighborhoods, specifically our neighborhoods. We are faced with a situation where my 9-year-old and my 12-year-old didn't make that conscious, responsible decision before they went out to drink. They simply went out onto the front yard to play, and now they're faced with a bar on the street. People drinking, responsibly or not, following the rules or not, doesn't matter to my child. My 5-year-old daughter did not choose to get dressed up and go out to a bar, and yet she is standing in the middle of one, just being out in her front yard. That's where this becomes an unacceptable risk. Not to mention the fact that I can no longer teach my children the foundational truth that alcohol is not the only way to have fun in life, when we are the people drinking every night, weekend, when there are people drinking every night, weekend in our front yard. This is an unacceptable move on the city government's part, simply for the monetary gains of officials and bar owners, and there is no way looking and is in no way looking out for the safety and surety of its own people.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. I'm Pastor Tom Cunningham from Revive Church. by the way.
All right.
My name is Heather.
Might want to pull the microphone down.
I'm short, sorry. Those tall guys up here. My name is Heather Van Sile, and I'm the manager and a family member at Gavin's on the Square. I've been paying attention to this since the beginning. Obviously, it benefits me or affects me. I'm not here to ask you to pass the hours full-time, because I think that will take care of itself. I'm here to reassure you guys and anybody who is opposed to this. I understand addiction, and I understand how it affects families and people close to you. I can tell you that 100%. I also have to tell you, for 19 years, I've been responsibly serving alcohol at Gavin's on the Square, and for 26 at the Broadway Brew House. We have 16 family members at Gavin's that make a living off of our liquor license, and 23 families that make a living off of the liquor license at the brew house. So when people say that kids are gonna get alcohol, it offends me, because I don't take that lightly. My liquor license is important to a lot of people, and if we lose it, we're screwed. In response to addiction, if somebody wants a drug or alcohol, they're going to get it. If somebody wants alcohol, the chances of them going to an establishment and paying an extra $1 for a fancy cup to get noticed on the street, that's rare. I don't buy that argument. The fact that people say kids are gonna get it, if kids want alcohol, they know somebody who can go to Circle K. They don't need my liquor license, because my servers are not going to sell it to them. We scan IDs, we take IDing seriously, we take cutting people off seriously. There's several council members who have been in our establishment and seen ours responsibly serve alcohol. I think that the DORA, whether it's full-time or part-time, goes hand in hand with all of the improvements downtown. They're redoing 3 quadrants. They're spending a lot of money downtown. They're not gonna let it be taken over by a bunch of drunks peeing on the square. That's not the way it's gonna go. In response to events and what we've made, there have been 2 events in 9 months. That's not a consistent pattern. People don't know when those events are. I understand that you advertise. I understand that there's the QR codes where you can pull up the events that are coming up, but I don't think until there's a consistent time period, you can monitor that. We did, however, sell more the second event than the first event, so to me, that's success. If anybody has any questions for me, I would be happy to answer.
No, we're not going to ask questions.
Okay.
Thank you for your comments.
Absolutely, no problem.
I gotta move this, it's too much in people's business. Hello, my name is Natalie Bolin. I am here wearing 2 hats tonight. Thank you, Mayor Day, thank you, New Philly Council, for giving me the opportunities to speak for just a few minutes. I'm gonna wear my first hat very briefly. I'm a resident of New Philadelphia. I live on the south side. I have for 22 years. It struck me as I was sitting here. This is my second time being in downtown New Philly tonight. I have a 13-year-old who auditioned in the Visitors and the Convention and Visitors Bureau for a role in the Little Theater, and her audition time was 6 o'clock. So I drove here really quickly after work, and I sat outside of the Convention and Visitors Bureau and prayed that her audition would go well. And she walked in so nervous and so tense, and then I sat there for a few minutes. It was just supposed to be a 10-minute audition, and she came bopping out, and she was so excited, and she opened my car door, and she bopped in, and she told me how well it went. And I'm sitting here, so I drove her home, and then I came back here for a DORA discussion. And I thought, how will I feel in a year whenever she has that same audition at the Convention and Visitors Bureau? And at that point, if daily DORA passes tonight, someone, not everyone, not every day, could be sitting in a bar drinking for 7 hours at that point, 11 to 6, is that the potential start time? Okay, so if someone is drinking and they're walking on the street with a Dora cup, they would have had the opportunity to drink internally or externally between start of Dora until 6 p.m. And how would I feel sitting in my car waiting for my daughter to come out of her audition at that point? And so as we're talking about New Philly revitalizing and growing, I really would encourage you to think about what do we want to revitalize and what do we want to grow. These little kids who are upstairs doing auditions for our local theater, or the ability for people to drink in our downtown streets. So that's my Natalie Mom hat. I do want to talk as the director of the Alcohol, Drug Addiction, Mental Health Services Board, the Adams Board of Tuscarawas and Carroll County. I don't envy the position that you're in today, and I really, really do believe New Philly City Council wants to do what's best for the residents of this community. I have seen it time after time. You have made so many changes over the course of the last few years that I enjoy. I go walking in the South Side Trail all the time, so if any of you are mad at me about this conversation, that's where you can find me after. But I feel like for you to make good decisions that you need to have all the facts. And I want to make sure that you know from our position the cost that that addiction has on the residents of at least Tuscarawas County. I did send you a letter, but I really just want to hit the highlights from that letter. And this is county-specific data. So we know that the Tuscarawas County Community Health Assessment, which was completed in 2024, indicated that the rate of binge drinkers in our county has increased from 16% in 2015 to 21% in 2024. That's approximately 15,000 Tuscarawas County adults. The Community Health Needs Assessment indicated that 34% of Tuscarawas County men report binge drinking the past 30 days, and it defines binge drinking as 5 or more drinks in one sitting. In Tuscarawas County, between 2017 and 2021, 39% of motor vehicle crashes involved alcohol. 39%, compared to 32% in Ohio and 26% in the United States. In our county, households with more than $40,000 were more likely to report binge drinking than those households with incomes below $40,000. This one is especially important to me and the Adams Board. We're talking about the financial benefit of Adora. If an individual is addicted to alcohol, and addiction comes in varying degrees and varying levels, but in general, if you have a diagnosis of alcohol dependence, it costs $35,000 to go through what is a recommended course of treatment. So as you're measuring out the benefit to our downtown businesses, I also want you to think about what that potential cost is to our county government and to the individuals that may find themselves struggling with addiction. Tuscarawas County has 10.9 liquor stores per 100,000 people compared to the 5.6 per 100,000.
I'm ready to wrap it. You've exceeded your 5 minutes.
I am going to say my last point and then sit down.
Okay, thank you.
And I ended the letter with this. We know that not everybody that drinks is going to be addicted. Not the issue, not what we're saying. But we know that addiction develops with 3 factors: exposure, genetics, and environment. And as I ended the letter, council has the opportunity to impact environment and exposure. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
My name is Mallory Thomas, and I currently work for the Tuscarawas County Public Library as well as the main campus here in New Philly. Dora invites alcohol into our streets, into our parks, and into spaces where families, children, and seniors deserve to feel safe. It replaces community pride with public intoxication, trash, and disorder. We do not have the proper policing, maintenance, or emergency resources to properly contain the problems that could follow should this motion go through. And what message does Adora send to members of our community in recovery from alcohol abuse? A few years ago, I worked for Ohio Guidestone at the Women's Drug and Alcohol Rehab Home that was once called Harbor House, now known as River Haven. I was a residential advocate, and my job during that time was to make sure that I, along with my colleagues, created a safe space for the women that were seeking treatment for alcohol and drug use. Some women were court-ordered, but regardless of what brought them there in the first place, I can guarantee you that every single one of them wanted a chance of freedom and a new life. The safety that myself and my colleagues had to provide also went further than the walls of the house. We had to ensure our residents' safety through transportation and outing events. We were cautious when it came to choosing which activities and outings the clients could participate in, especially due to being in a community where local bars were just a simple walk down the street. I can't tell you how many times I heard those women say, "I wish I could have just one more drink, but I won't." Now, I know what some of you may be thinking, that they have a choice in the matter whether they drink or don't drink in those instances. And you're right, they do. But when someone is in active addiction, the choice to say no becomes like a muted drum, and all they can hear is the resounding voice in their head that says, "It's just one drink, it won't set me back. It's music on the square night, I can manage." Or it's just a party with friends at Gavin's or J&G. My point in all of this is for someone fighting every day to maintain their sobriety, walking down streets filled with open drinking is not just uncomfortable, it's triggering, it's painful, and it's isolating. We would be creating an environment that actively endangers their recovery, undermines their hard work, and tells them that they are no longer considered when community decisions are made. Small businesses that rely on family-friendly atmospheres will suffer. For example, our library, where families and young children, babies and 2-year-olds, students and elderly go for resources to help them learn and grow. Stores that rely on a calm, family-oriented atmosphere will lose customers. And the winners, so-called, will be the bars and alcohol-serving establishments. But at what cost to the shops such as Soboho, the Daily Grind, the Quaker, Alley Cats Marketplace, and so many others that define the character of our town and our community? Streets will probably become less welcoming. Public safety incidents will rise, and I can promise that families will probably think twice before bringing their children downtown. That is not growth to our community, that is erosion. A DORA does not align with who we are. It risks attracting the wrong attention. And I'm not saying that those establishments that serve alcohol are wrong by being in business. I have been a patron to almost all of them myself, but I do believe that those establishments should be confined to their own property and their own liabilities as an independent business, not part of a boundary that allows a free-for-all to walk around our town intoxicated. It is one thing for someone in recovery to make the free will choice to walk into an establishment that serves alcohol. But what about when that recovering person is walking out from the Daily Grind or the homeless shelter and is walking into a community where their addiction is slammed right in their face without a choice? That choice is stripped from them. And how can we keep the people of New Philly and the visitors that come to our town safe? I will wrap this up. In 2018, according to our community health assessment that was placed out to the public, it stated that 25% of adults reported driving after drinking an alcoholic beverage. 30% of those were males. That was 7 years ago. According to the assessment that was done in 2024, the percentage of binge drinking was 50%. This means that people drank more than once a week, and that same 50% drank 3 or more times in a month span. In 2024, according to the Tuscarawas County Health Department, there were 2,314 total vehicle crashes, with 100 of them being alcohol-related. Adding in a DORA boundary could possibly raise that number even more in a shorter amount of time. And until we get a better understanding of how this DORA boundary can affect those percentages and numbers, 7+ years after that last assessment in 2018 was done, I personally believe that this movement should not happen until we know that data. How can we even ensure that the rise of drunk driving and vehicular homicide due to drinking and driving do not increase by tenfold of where they are now? No life is worth losing, and this decision is permanent. I'm not talking about the physical permanence, because we all know that once the physical damage is done, the ruling can be revoked and changed. And I just have one last question. If we can't track the number of used cups from 2 events, as we had learned tonight, the first and second, and we can't get an inventory count, then how is this possibly going to be tracked over a month, a week, or a day? This is already out of hand. Do you know the answer to that?
All right, thank you for
Thank
your
you.
comments.
Good evening, Mayor, members of council, President. My name is Sean Patterson, and I come before you not only as a concerned citizen, but somebody who is deeply involved in prevention efforts here in Tuscarawas County. I am an active member in Empower Tusk, serving the past 4 to 5 years. Tonight, I respectfully urge you to reconsider the proposal to extend the DORA to 7 days a week. At a time when our community is already battling some of the highest rates of binge drinking in the state, expanding public access to alcohol is not the solution. It's a step backward. I believe we have a responsibility to protect the health, safety, and future of our families, our youth, and our downtown community. I'd like to briefly share a few reasons why this proposal is not in the best interest of New Philadelphia. Before I continue on, can I get a raise of hands by the voting members of council who have immediate family members who have battled alcohol addiction?
I don't think you should ask that question, Sean. Just do your
Okay.
comments.
Roger. Number one, Tuscarawas County's high rates of problem drinking. Tuscarawas County has consistently ranked among the highest in Ohio for binge drinking rates. Introducing DORA would encourage a culture that normalizes public drinking, further exacerbating a problem our community is already struggling to contain. Adding more access to alcohol in public spaces is irresponsible when we already face higher than average rates of alcohol-related health issues, family instability, and accidents. 2, public health and safety concerns. More public alcohol consumption means increased risks of disorderly conduct, vandalism, accidents, and even drunk driving. Police departments in cities with DORAs have often reported higher calls for service, straining already limited resources. Is this city prepared to increase public safety costs for additional policing, security, and emergency responses? 3, impact on families and community image. Downtown New Philadelphia should be a welcoming, family-friendly environment, not a place where alcohol is openly consumed daily. DORAs can deter families, tourists, and potential investors who are seeking a safe, clean, and wholesome community atmosphere. Normalizing alcohol consumption on the streets sends a dangerous message to our youth about what fun or community should look like. 4, increased risk of underage drinking. Open alcohol zones create opportunities for underage access and consumption. How will the city realistically monitor and enforce drinking age laws across an open downtown area 7 days a week? Number 5, long-term economic concerns. While some businesses might see a short-term boost, DORAs can drive away businesses and visitors looking for a safe, sober environment. Increased crime, trash, vandalism, and negative perceptions can lower property values and economic growth over time. Downtown revitalization should focus on sustainable, family-friendly growth, not quick gimmicks that encourage drinking. Ethical and moral leadership. Just because other cities have DORAs doesn't mean it's right for New Philadelphia. As leaders, the city council should be striving to raise community standards, not lower them to accommodate alcohol consumption at the expense of public welfare. We owe it to our children and future generations to create a healthier, safer, and more responsible culture. 7, other ways to boost downtown without promoting alcohol. We should be focused on promoting arts, music, small businesses, farmers markets, outdoor recreation, and community festivals that do not revolve around alcohol. Investing in family-oriented and sober entertainment options will have more positive long-term effects than creating a street drinking zone. In closing, in a time when Tuscarawas County already faces serious struggles with binge drinking and its consequences, it is not only unwise, it is irresponsible to normalize alcohol consumption in our public spaces 7 days a week. Our downtown should be a place where families feel safe, where businesses thrive, and where our young people are shown healthier examples of community life. I urge you as leaders elected to protect and promote the welfare of all citizens, to reject this proposal and to choose a better path for New Philadelphia, one that builds a stronger, healthier, and more vibrant future for everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Ma'am, before you speak, now we've had 7 or 8 people speak and they're all saying the same thing. I get it, that you're against, well, let me finish.
Fourth time you shut me down. Every time I've raised my hand or go to stand up, you shut me down.
Well, ma'am, if you're gonna talk the same thing that the other folks, I think we get it.
Well, I don't think you do, Mr. President.
So you got something different to say than,
Let me tell you. Let me put it this way. I'm an EMT firefighter, not with this county, but with another county.
ma'am, you need to state your
But
name.
My name's Deborah McInich. I live over on 233 Ray Avenue. I'm a firefighter EMT. I don't run with this county. I've ran with this county. I ran with Smith Ambulance. I run with Martin's Ferry down by the river. None of you have seen what an accident can happen and what an accident from drinking and driving can do. I've been on those calls. I've seen it. You don't want that. And the bad part is, you guys are gonna vote for something that shouldn't be happening. I live so close to where you're gonna have those people coming over and walking over to my house, drunk, probably falling down drunk, and I have to take care of them. I shouldn't have to do that. And I don't wanna have to go out on the streets and out on the highway and take care of somebody that's been out here drinking. Because they've actually killed themselves, or they've ended up killing somebody else in another vehicle. Or, in turn, like the kids. Kids are out playing. If you're gonna extend those door hours, what are you gonna do? Kids are out playing on the streets, and that car misses, runs the curb, and runs into a kid? You want that on your conscience? Because that's what it's gonna be. That's exactly what it's gonna end up, on you guys' conscience, because that family will come after you.
All right, thank you for, ma'am, I don't want to shut you down, but if you got some comments you want to make. Ma'am, I'm asking you the same thing. Are you going to say the same thing, or?
I feel I need to make my point. I'm Amanda with AQ Wedding Officiant.
Well, what's your last name and your
Qualls,
address?
Qualls. And I'm the proud owner of AQ Wedding Officiant here on the south side. And I'm also an ordained minister of a small business owner, and most importantly, a person in long-term recovery. I come before you tonight as a business owner and as a member of this community, but someone who's lived with the experience. Someone who's understand firsthand the devastating effects of alcohol addiction can have on individuals, families, and future generations. In February of this year, I lost my brother Jason. He was only 41 years old when alcohol claimed his life. Alcoholism has long run through the roots of my family, leaving behind a trail of heartbreak, physical violence, trauma, and mental health struggles. As a child, I witnessed these effects of alcohol abuse in my home, the yelling, the physical fights, the constant turmoil. Those experiences shaped me and carried those memories with me every day. Because of this history, I have made conscious decisions in 2016 to change my life and walk with the path of God and sobriety. It hasn't been easy, but it's been worth it. Today, I'm proud to say I've been sober since then. I attend recovery group every Monday evening right here in New Philadelphia, led by Jamie Cunningham, whose guidance has helped me strengthen and resolve and taught me the importance of remaining vigilant in environments we create in our community. This is why I stand firmly against the proposal of legalizing DORA, the designated outdoor refreshment area in our town. While I understand the intent behind it, I believe potentially consequences far outweigh any perceived benefits. Allowing open consumption for alcohol in public areas sends the wrong messages to our children, our teens, the next generation. It normalizes public drinking, and subsidy tells them it's acceptable to walk the streets with alcohol in hand. It undermines the efforts of those of us in recovery and those working hard every day to maintain sobriety, to choose a better life, and to be positive role models in our community. Furthermore, there are those among us battling not just alcohol addiction, but addiction in many forms, to use drugs, unhealthy behaviors, and toxic environments. Encouraging public drinking not only jeopardizes their process, but also risks triggering relapse and undergoing the hard work so many have fought for. I also worry about the increase in public disturbance, health risk, and criminal activity that often accompanies public drinking zones. It's a simple truth. When alcohol consumption rises in the public spaces, so too do incidents of violence, vandalism, disorderly conduct, and impaired driving. Are we prepared to accept these consequences in our hometown? As a wedding officiant, I have a legal and moral responsibility to ensure that couples who come to me are sober and of sound mind before entering into a lifetime commitment of marriage. The law is clear. You cannot be intoxicated by legally marrying in the state of Ohio. If we as a community accept public drinking zones, how do we justify upholding laws in one place while disregarding them in another? I ask you sincerely and from the heart to consider what kind of example we are setting. If we make public drinking the norm, what message does that send to the 12-year-old watching from the sidewalk, the young mother fighting for her recovery, or the grieving sister like me who already lost a loved one to addiction? I believe in our community deserves better. People need to have hope and help and love and encouragement, not an easy access to behaviors that can easily be so leading destruction. In closing, I urge you to please hear my voice and the voices of others like me who have lived this struggle. Say no to Dora, to New Philadelphia. Let's invest instead of programs, resources, and invocations that promote health, safety, family, and recovery. Thank you for time, your attention, and your willingness to listen. Amanda.
All right, thank you.
My name is Jamie Cunningham, and as you heard from Amanda, I run a recovery meeting here in New Philadelphia. Today, you guys heard stories from people who are specifically impacted by alcohol. I have a family member who was hospitalized from withdrawing from alcohol. Alcohol and benzos are two of the drugs that you can die from withdrawing from. And without medically detox, you'll end up dead. My family member was in a medically induced coma for 2 weeks because he tried to get sober. I know you've heard many people today speak about the impact that it's going to have on the family members, the impact that it's going to have on our community and our children, but you're not really hearing it. You're hearing the same story over and over, but these people lived this lifestyle. And, you know, I encourage every single one of you here today, before you vote yes on making Dora 7 days a week, go spend time in a recovery-focused meeting. There are 23 in the Tuscarawas County area, 23 recovery meetings. Go spend time in the rehabs that are here in the Tuscarawas County area. There's the Bluffs, there's River Haven, there's Beneath the Shade. Go talk to those people who are directly impacted by addiction and alcoholism, because they will tell you it's not just the individual, it's the entire family, it's the community, it's the jobs. And to comment on the bars, we're not concerned about the bartender serving underage kids. We're concerned about the adult who purchases that Dora cup, going outside those walls and handing it to a minor and nobody enforcing not to have that happen. Who's going to be patrolling the areas making sure underage drinking is not happening? Who's going to patrol the areas making sure people aren't drinking and driving? You guys say that it's not going to cost the city anything, but you're just going to turn a blind eye to people in the streets drinking? People in the streets who are going to hand alcohol to minors? Because I drank underage here in New Philadelphia when I was a teenager at a bar. The bartender handed me a beer. Nobody got in trouble for it. I didn't get arrested. The adult didn't get arrested because nobody got caught. Who's going to stop that from happening? We have parents who give alcohol to their minors in their households. We know underage kids go to the gas stations and get cigarettes. Who's stopping them from asking somebody going into the establishment and getting them an alcoholic beverage and consuming it in the streets because there's nobody saying, oh, you're inside my bar, you're not going to drink? There's nothing there to keep that in track. And that is what I'm asking you guys to think about before you pass this, because that is 7 days. It's not an event only. When there's events, there's more patrols, there's more law enforcement available to monitor the situation. But 7 days a week in the area, like Mallory said, the public library is within the DORA limits. 4 to 9, Monday through Thursday, that is the peak hours that students are visiting the library. That is the peak hours that students are riding their bikes going to their neighbors. You also said that summertime is going to be the peak of DORA. Summertime is when the kids are out of school. What are going to stop those kids from being around all those people who are intoxicated in the streets? Their parents are working because, everybody's got to make a living. And the kids who are 14 and older have the trust of their parents to go to their neighbor's house down the street. But who's going to keep them from being assaulted by somebody who's intoxicated? We know that the rates of crime increases. Alcohol lowers people's inhibition, and it also increases domestic violence. So nobody is going to be protecting the children, and it is up to the community to voice their opinions here and their concerns. That's what you're here for. That's why you're in office, is to hear the voices of your citizens, not because you want to pass for the business people. It's for the citizens of this area. New Philadelphia, the square, it's a small area, but there are families who live in there. Tuscarawas County, New Philadelphia, actually, Roswell is considered New Philadelphia. And that's not the majority of the people who are going to be directly impacted on an everyday basis of DORA. I live on Ray Avenue, like I said. My life is impacted. My children's life is impacted. My husband's life is impacted by legalizing this. So before you just blow it off because you're hearing the same stuff by everybody, remember that every single one of these people I brought here because they come to my recovery meetings. They live in recovery, and their voices matter. And the city has done so much to make the voices of those in addiction or recovery mean very little. When I worked at Ohio Guidestone, we had Empower Tusk meetings or events in downtown Square. Who, like Cheryl mentioned, who's going to stop DORA from a bachelor party, going into a DORA establishment, bringing a DORA cup out to an Empower Tusk event in the square? If it's a 7-day event, who's going to prevent that from happening?
All right, thank you for your comments.
Hello, my name is John Phelps. I live on Union Avenue in Philly, 1045. I am not in recovery. I usually don't do this. I usually don't speak out. I'm not much of a politician. But I've heard all kinds of stuff from all the other people, so I kind of wanted to come in and see what was about it. And you had asked not to, hear how bad drugs and alcohol are for the community or for people individually, which I didn't understand because that's kind of the whole point of the thing is how bad alcohol is. But just taken away from that, I've heard that DORA is providing donations for the VFW, which is amazing. It's absolutely fantastic. but I'm not entirely sure what else DORA is doing for the community. If this is supposed to boost community, you're talking about profits, but I'm not entirely sure which profits are being boosted other than the alcohol industry. Is DORA doing anything to fund the public library? Or is DORA funding this person's wonderful charity organization? Are there any funds that are going to that? If the question is whether or not DORA would be good for the community to boost the community, I think it's within our obligation and moral obligation to look further than the finances and see whether or not it's going to have a positive impact on the general state of the public, not just financially. Money doesn't solve everything. So I guess I'm going to be the shortest one up here. That's really all I had to say. If DORA is going to be able to inject its profits back into the community to be able to help in places where we actually do need help, I'd say go for it, but I don't see anything or hear anything to that effect. So, thank you.
All right, thank you for your comments.
Hello, my name is Lauren Morris, and I just want to say something really briefly. I'm from Coshocton, Ohio, but I moved here, and I moved here because it's very family friendly, and it's I love that I have like the BP down by my house. They don't even sell alcohol there. I am in recovery, and I love it here. I come here because it's lively. I just wanted to get away from there because of all the drugs and alcohol, and I came here for that specific reason. And so if you do this, you know, it will be affecting me and my family. So, thank you.
Thank you for your comments. All right, we'll move on to council comments. Any council member have any comments tonight? Yes, Mr. Ramos?
To somebody else.
No?
I mean, in council. Okay, thank you. This is really an important decision, and I appreciate everyone coming and voicing your opinions and your concerns. Many of them are my own. So, not to rehash everything that's been said, but I've learned and heard different information from every speaker. I know all hearers are different, but I did hear new things and actually got some good ideas. Thank you. So, I've read all the emails from concerned citizens, the Adams Board, and the Empower Tusk, suggestions of Empower Tusk, and the form letters from various businesses, the impact members. That was a form letter, most of them, and personally constructed letters. I've listened to concerned residents, as those here tonight, and I do hear your concerns about a 7-day-a-week DORA, and I thank you all for coming, everyone, including Gavin's there. I did hear from one downtown business that they're okay with DORA for now, but the overwhelming majority of comments that I have had, I've received, even here tonight, via email, text, phone calls, face-to-face in the community, and even on Facebook. People have looked me up, okay, to comment. The overwhelming majority is against the expansion of DORA hours or a daily DORA. I won't rehash what has been emailed to City Council, as every member has gotten the same emails, concerns voiced by residents that I have. And I have forwarded all that I have gotten myself. So while businesses that we have heard from over in the form letter too, think that the increased DORA hours will increase their profits and benefit the growth of the downtown, no data has been provided. I'm just not seeing it, how open carry alcohol will benefit the growth of the downtown. I do, however, think that stellar products, offering stellar products that people want to buy, good customer service, not saying that isn't happening, safety and parking close to the venue would be a draw. If I or my husband, we experience poor customer service or poor product, we choose not to go back to that place. We don't return. And that has happened in New Philadelphia, the whole city-wide. We're like, we're not going back there. Additionally, this summer, 3 of the downtown quadrants are undergoing construction. And we all know what a wonderful thing that is when there's construction. Impact has decreased the flower placements, and the mayor has only given $22,000 of city funds to the flower project, and that's according to Impact's April minutes. Again, the construction will cause havoc in downtown. A beer garden, by the way, is included in those plans, and I really haven't heard anything against a beer garden.
Cheryl, where's the beer garden?
It's close to Gavin's, actually, in the first set of plans I got. You guys were supposed to send me a second plan, but I haven't
There's
gotten
no
it.
beer garden, there's no beer garden.
So, in the first set of plans, there was one.
There's
Now
no beer
the-
garden.
Now
There's
the
no beer
plans are
garden.
saying there is none.
There's no beer garden.
Okay, send me those plans, please. These are the first plans I saw, so I will clarify that. Thank you.
When we have the updated plans, we will have you come into the office, and you can look them over with us, and we'll explain them to you.
Okay, well, the
Okay.
first set you said had a beer garden.
Yeah, no,
Okay, thank you for clarifying that.
you're welcome.
So, council doesn't even know the metric of success of DORA. And that metric, as we've discussed earlier, was stated by the mayor last year, and that was increasing income tax revenues to the city. We don't have any data or any stats. And currently, there is no metric to measure that, economic success for the city, and increased business for the business owners downtown. But I am sure that that metric could be developed, and guess what? We would be the first city in Ohio to do that, and it would surely put us on the map in a positive way. All that together, it makes no sense then to expand door hours from special events to daily open carry alcohol at this time. There have only been 2 special events, and as I said, no data of success, economic success, and the kinks have not been worked out even for special events, although I know work is continuing on that. There has been no trial period. It hasn't occurred with only 2 events, you don't know. I understand. In the meantime, I understand the easy way out of this is just to make DORA every day. But I am confident that the kinks will be worked out and could be worked out and guardrails put in place, given some more special events and a relook after the downtown returns to normal. Therefore, I urge council to vote no on expanding DORA hours to daily DORA at this time. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Cheryl. Any other council members? I just have one comment. Our May meeting, our second meeting in May is on Memorial Day. So we'll move it to the 29th of May, which is a Thursday of that week. So everybody get on their schedule to be on the Thursday, the 29th of May instead of the 26th. All right, we'll move into our legislative agenda. Ms. Courtwright.
Ordinance number 5, 2025, an ordinance to allocate funds collected under the City of New Philadelphia income tax ordinance for the 2025 fiscal year and declaring an emergency, third reading.
Is there any action taken? Is that an ordinance?
Yes.
On this ordinance tonight? Yeah, Mr. Ramos.
I move that ordinance 5, 2025 be passed.
Do I have a second? Thank you, Mr. Rippeth. Any discussion by administration, council, community? Roll call.
Mrs. Ramos.
Yes.
Mr. Rippeth.
Yes.
Mr. Kreinbell.
Yes.
Mr. Lanzer.
Yes.
Mr. Sears.
Yes.
Mr. Simile.
Yes.
Mr. Walker.
Yes.
All right, ordinance 5, 2025 has passed.
Ordinance number 7, 2025, an ordinance by the council of the City of New Philadelphia, Tuscarawas County, Ohio, to amend codified ordinance 948 and repeal codified ordinance 949 and declaring an emergency, first reading.
Is there any action we're taking on this ordinance tonight? Yes, Mr. Walker.
Yeah, Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to suspend the rules and pass this on the first reading.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Good, thank you, Mr. Kreinbell. Any discussion by administration, council, roll call?
Mr. Walker.
Yes.
Mr. Kreinbell.
Yes.
Mr. Lanzer.
Yes.
Mrs. Ramos.
Yes.
Mr. Rippeth.
Yes.
Mr. Sears.
Yes.
Mr. Simile.
Yes.
All right, rules have been suspended.
Make
Mr.
a
Walker.
motion to pass ordinance 7, 2025.
All right, need a second. Mr. Kreinbell, thank you. Any comments from the community, administration, council, roll call?
Mr. Walker.
Yes.
Mr. Kreinbell.
Yes.
Mr. Lanzer.
Yes.
Mrs. Ramos.
Yes.
Mr. Rippeth.
Yes.
Mr. Sears.
Yes.
Mr. Simile.
Yes.
All right, ordinance 7, 2025 has passed.
Resolution number 5, 2025, a resolution by the council of the City of New Philadelphia in support of State Issue 2 renewal of the State Capital Improvement Program on the May 6, 2025 statewide ballot and declaring an emergency, third reading.
Is there any action we're taking on this resolution tonight? Mr. Lanzer?
Yes, Mr. President, I ask that we pass resolution 5, 2025.
Do I have a second?
Yes, Mr. President.
All right, thank you, Mr. Rippeth. Any discussion by community, administration?
Yes, Mr. President.
Yes.
I would ask and urge council to pass this resolution. Since my time here, we've probably received roughly about $2 million through this grant process. I believe it's a good thing for the city. I believe it's a good thing to pass tonight. Thank you.
All right, thank you for your comments. Council members, any comments? Roll call.
Mr. Lanzer.
Yes.
Mr. Rippeth.
Yes.
Mr. Kreinbell.
Yes.
Mrs. Ramos.
No.
Mr. Sears.
Yes.
Mr. Simile.
Yes.
Mr. Walker.
Yes.
All right, resolution 5, 2025 has passed.
Resolution number 8, 2025, a resolution by the council of the City of New Philadelphia, Ohio, to amend Resolution 10, 2024, to amend DORA hours of operation and declaring an emergency, third reading.
Is there any action taken on this resolution tonight?
Yes, Mr. President, I move that we pass resolution number 8, 2025.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
All right, thank you, Mr. Lanzer. Any discussion by the community? You've already talked once, sir. See?
He's just voting. He's just getting a
He's
video.
taking a picture.
Oh, I'm sorry, I thought you was asking a question. Apologies. Any comments from the administration, council? Yes,
I
Ms.
just have one real quick. I urge council to really listen and consider the concerns of the community and all the things that we've heard. And again, the majority has been against this.
All right, thank you, Mr. Ramos. Anyone else? Roll call.
Mr. Kreinbell.
Yes.
Mr. Lanzer.
Yes.
Mrs. Ramos.
No.
Mr. Rippeth.
Yes.
Mr. Sears.
Yes.
Mr. Simile.
No.
Mr. Walker.
Abstain.
All right, resolution 8, 2025 has passed.
That concludes legislation for this evening.
All right, thank you, Ms. Courtright. Is there any unfinished old business to discuss tonight?
Mr. President? Wait a minute.
Yes, Ms.
Did anybody else receive that 50% drawing? I could have swore I sent that out.
Yeah, you had sent it.
Okay, Cheryl, you should have got it. Should have received it already. Everybody else got it
When
except
did you
you.
send it out?
A month ago, whenever you asked. The Tuesday afterwards. Thank you, Mr. President.
Any new
Didn't
business?
get it, but I'll look at it.
Any new
Well,
business
we need,
tonight?
yeah, oh, sorry.
Hear none.
Adjourn.
So moved, Mr. President.
We adjourned at 9:14.
Cavaliers are.
Yeah, Cheryl, you should come in so we can explain.
Cavaliers are way ahead.
No.